up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to episode 95 of the Be Greyt podcast. It is a Monday. It is rare that I upload on a Monday, but you know what? I had to get on the mic and I had to talk about this past weekend of college football because, oh boy, did I love it. Oh boy, did I love it. First of all, your boy went 8-2 for the second week in a row in his picks. Love to see it. We're turning it around here late in the season. Gosh, can't even speak. And I'm just there's 3 games I gotta talk about. One of them I did pick wrong, but I could not be happier to have picked it wrong. And the other 2, I think I was just on the money, man. On the money. Let's get into this. Okay? Oklahoma, Alabama. That's the first one. I got to talk about it first. You know, I remember after the Alabama-Georgia game, where Alabama beat Georgia again. I remember I was sitting here, I was making the episode, the review episode. And you know what I said? I said, I think we've just gotten to a point where Georgia, every single year, is Alabama's Super Bowl. It seems to me like they care more about beating Georgia every year than they do about winning the national championship. And it looked like I was going to be proven wrong on that take because Alabama was keeping pace. They were doing what they needed to do. They were dominating teams. And they kept winning and winning and winning, unlike last year where, yeah, they beat Georgia and then it just absolutely collapsed for the rest of the season. And then Saturday happened. Saturday happened and I was proven exactly right. This team is soft. This team brought in a coach from Washington, his first gig here in the SEC, and his team plays like it. They're soft. They aren't consistent. And in games like this, where they get completely out-physicaled, they crumble under the pressure. How many times do we have to sit here, or do I have to sit here and talk about Bama can't run the football? How many times do I have to sit here and talk about how Bama's offense in the second half is not good every single week? Their offense in the second half against Georgia, 0 points. Their offense in the second half against LSU, not good. And here we are once again where they score a total of 7 points in the second half. Their leading rusher, 60 yards, which is actually better than it has been. But how do you expect to win football games when your quarterback is having to throw the ball 42 times? 42 times. And we are going to see something very similar when we get to the last game I'm going to talk about, which is Georgia-Texas. Look at the similarities between that game and this game stats-wise. John Mateer only threw the ball 23 times. Only 23. He only threw for 138 yards. He didn't even throw for a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown, but he didn't even throw for a touchdown. Ty Simpson threw for over 300 yards. He threw a touchdown. Issue is, Ty Simpson also threw a pick six, which is just going to come, which it came back and killed them. It came back and bit them. Oklahoma, under Brett Venables, has a good defense. An amazing defense, you could probably say. Maybe the best defense in the SEC. and Alabama could not overcome. And once again, Ryan Williams, who I've said maybe 1,000 times already, is not the best receiver on this team. And what does he do? What does Ryan Williams do? He fumbled. He was the 4th leading receiver on this team. He only had 3 catches, no touchdowns. Jeremy Bernard outperformed him. Josh Cuevas outperformed him. Isaiah Horton outperformed him. And none of them turned the ball over. That's the story of this game. Ryan Williams, fumble. Ty Simpson, pick 6 and a fumble. And Ty Simpson was lucky there wasn't another interception, but it got taken away because of a flag. This Alabama team is soft. This is the second time this season where they've been completely manhandled, out-physicaled for 4 quarters. And this Alabama team is completely one-dimensional. And Ty Simpson, I think, is good. But he's not good enough for you to win a national championship being completely one-dimensional. You have to be able to run the football if you're going to win a national championship. Plain and simple. Alabama can't run the football. Oklahoma can't run the football either. You know who else can't run the football? Texas. And they got dog-walked, literally and figuratively. Alabama is now in a position where the Auburn game has become a must-win. And they shouldn't be in this position, yet they put themselves in this position. And look, Auburn interim coach, Auburn is not a team that I would want to play where they can spoil all your hopes and dreams. That's a dangerous game to play. As a Georgia fan, I want Alabama to beat Auburn. I want Alabama, Texas A&M in the SEC championship. I want Georgia to have an extra bye week, okay? Don't get it twisted. I want Georgia to have an extra bye week. I don't really care about the SEC championship. It's kind of meaningless these days. Because if I don't win the Natty, do I really care I won the SEC championship? And vice versa. If I didn't win the SEC championship, but I win the Natty, do I care that I didn't win the SEC championship? Of course not. Who cares? It was a good performance by Oklahoma. They were desperate. They had to have this win, and they got it. And we might have to start the narrative. Does Oklahoma own Alabama? Gotta wonder. Notre Dame Pitt. I just want to talk about this game briefly because it is a perfect showing of why the ACC should not have a playoff spot this year specifically. It is a joke of a conference. Pitt was ranked 22, was one of the best, considered one of the best teams in the ACC, and they were completely uncompetitive against Notre Dame. Completely uncompetitive. At no point, this game was close at one point, and that was the start of the game when it said 0-0. After that, it was not close at all. Just absolute domination. Pitt was outscored in every single quarter. I mean, that's just the reality. It's just a reality. Pitt's not good. The ACC's not good. The fact that Georgia Tech might end up being the ACC champion shows exactly why the ACC is trash. Georgia Tech is a mediocre football team. Georgia Tech was significantly better last year than they are this year. And maybe I shouldn't say that because Georgia has to play them in 2 weeks. And this could come back to bite me, but I said it. It's out there now. So I just wanted to highlight this game just to show as to why we should not take the ACC as a conference seriously. And to be fair, we shouldn't take most of these conferences seriously. The ACC is a complete joke. There's not a single good team in that conference. The Big 12 has one good team. The rest of them are mid at best. Let's stop pretending like BYU is good. They are not. Okay? The Big 10, I am not understanding why we are pretending that the Big 10 and the SEC are on the same level. They're not. Look at Ohio State's schedule this year, and sit here and tell me that the Big 10 and SEC they're the same. Give me a break. Let's read off Ohio State's schedule, ladies and gentlemen. So look, they played Texas week 1. Congratulations. It was Arch's first start. It was a road start, but you won. Congrats. However, Texas is a 3-loss team, probably going to end up being a 4-loss team when they lose to Texas A&M. But since then, Grambling State, Ohio, Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Penn State, who's trash, let's remind ourselves, they're trash, Purdue, UCLA, they play Rutgers this weekend, and then they play Michigan. Do you know how many teams that I just read off are ranked? One of them, and it's the one they play in 2 weeks, Michigan, who should not be ranked. They are a fraudulent team. Their game against Northwestern was a disgrace. A disgrace. The fact that people actually are taking Michigan seriously and actually think that their hopes are alive for the playoffs, give me a break. If I see Michigan in the playoffs, I might barf. I hope Georgia gets to play Michigan in the playoff. Talk about a free win. Talk about an extra bye week that would be. Give me a break. They have no offense at all. They have Bryce Underwood, he looks like modern-day Cam Newton, and yet they're trying to turn him into Peyton Manning. He's just sitting there as a statue in the pocket when we all know he can run and he's mobile. I don't know what Michigan's doing. I don't know what Sharon Moore is doing. That team is trash. Could they beat Ohio State? Sure. But just because they beat Ohio State, trust me, I'm not going to sit here saying Michigan's good because of it. Because Michigan wasn't good last year, and they beat Ohio State. That's what a rivalry will do. But my point is, this schedule shows that the Big Ten is a joke. Minnesota? Are we serious? Go look at the SEC. Who's a bad team in the SEC? You want to talk about Mississippi State? Mississippi State's probably, a bottom 3 team in the SEC? Mississippi State would beat Minnesota by 2 touchdowns minimum. You want to know how I know that? Because Mississippi State beat Arizona State this year, by the way. Arizona State, who just last year won the Big 12 championship. How about Arkansas? Arkansas would beat Minnesota too. You want to know why? Because Arkansas can score a lot of points. They have a really good offense. Minnesota, Kentucky, that game would probably end 6-3. That's a coin toss on who wins. Purdue would lose to everybody. Wisconsin would lose to everybody. They're terrible. Rutgers would lose to most of the SEC, outside maybe Kentucky. And even that's debatable. Washington, massive disappointment this year. Illinois, massive disappointment this year. Penn State, the biggest disappointment this year that no one saw coming, except yours truly. UCLA, they're a joke. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we even want to compare. Let's take Auburn, a completely mediocre SEC team, Auburn. What would Auburn's record be with this Ohio State schedule? Let's go through it. Auburn would lose to Texas. Okay. They'd beat Grambling State. They would beat Ohio. How about Washington? What's Washington's record? They're it's showing me the record at that point. They're 3-1. Washington's probably they're probably a slightly above average Big Ten team this year. You know what? Let's give the Big Ten the benefit of the doubt. Let's say Washington would beat Auburn. Minnesota, Auburn is beating Minnesota. Minnesota is scoring 0 points on Auburn. Illinois, I'm just telling you, Auburn would beat Illinois. Auburn would beat Wisconsin. Auburn would beat Penn State. Auburn would absolutely beat Purdue. Auburn would beat UCLA. Auburn would beat Rutgers. Michigan, coin flip. I'm just telling you. Hugh Freeze keeps his job if he has this schedule, but he doesn't because in the SEC you play actual teams, not this garbage. I actually said over the weekend, Ohio State could have played all their backups and probably lost one game, that being to Texas. And even that's probably debatable because Arch Manning played so bad in that game. And maybe they would lose the Michigan game. Maybe. Big maybe. Georgia, Texas. You know what I want? I want an apology from Paul Feinbaum. Do you want to know why? And I mentioned this during the off-season. Was it during the off-season? I think I've mentioned it a few times. During the off-season, Paul Feinbaum went on national television. Do you know what he said? He said a few things about Georgia. Number one, he said Gunnar Stockton is serviceable at best. Number two, he said Arch Manning's the best quarterback he's ever seen since Tim Tebow. And number three, he was asked, who has the better future, Georgia or Alabama? And he proceeded to say, they asked him, who are you more worried about in the future? He said, Georgia. They look stuck in time. I mean, did you see their playoff game against Notre Dame? I mean, it was appalling. It was terrible. I want an apology for all of it. You disrespected Gunnar Stockton during the offseason for no reason, by the way. For no reason. Anyone who has a brain and watched that playoff game knows it was not Gunnar's fault that we lost that game. There was many things at play that caused us to lose. Gunnar is not in the top 10 as far as reasons we lost that game. Bummer. The backup came in and had to start in a playoff game that was delayed by a day against a team that was in the national championship. And Paul wants to sit there and say, I'm more worried about Georgia. I mean, did you see their playoff game against Notre Dame? Did you see Alabama's playoff game? Oh, wait, that's right. They didn't even make it, Paul. They didn't even make it because Vanderbilt dropped 40 on their head. They lost to Tennessee, and Oklahoma dominated them. And now here we are this year. They lost to Florida State to open the season, who sucks, by the way. And then once again, they've lost to Oklahoma at home. But yeah, Paul. Alabama, such brighter future, right? Such brighter future. Or how about your Arch Manning, best quarterback I've ever seen since Tim Tebow? Yeah, try a 59 QBR, Paul. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 27 for 43, 251 yards passing. He didn't even average 6 yards a pass. What? He also had a fumble, by the way. Don't forget about that. Gunnar Stockton, serviceable at best, right, Paul? How about a 94 QBR, 24 for 29, 229 yards passing, almost 8 yards a pass, 4 touchdowns, plus a rushing touchdown to make it 5, and 1 interception. That wasn't a bad interception by Gunnar. It was a great play by Anthony Hill, the linebacker. But tell me more, Paul. Tell me more. Tell me more about Arch Manning. Tell me how Gunnar Stockton's not that guy. Keep telling me. Because I'm going to keep calling you an idiot. Once again, this was with Alabama, and now you can see it once again here with Texas. If you cannot run the ball, you are not winning an SEC title. You are not winning the national championship for sure. And Texas can't run the ball. Texas, this is their third matchup against Georgia since joining the SEC. In those 3 games, they don't even have a combined 100 yards rushing. I think it's like 83 or something. Because in this game, the leading rusher was Quintravian Wisner for 37 yards. But as a team, they only had 23 yards rushing because they had 17 yards taken away from sacks. And Kirby coached circles around Sark once again. Once again. Sark is a good head coach, but he's not great. He's not great because his big game coaching and play calling is mid at best, especially late in games. He has not been able to find a way to run the ball in big games, and he has good talent. And he can't find a way to run the ball. Ever. Drop passes. Wingo had a few of them. Killed him from the start. You saw in the middle of this game, I think it was the fourth quarter, you saw a master class in coaching from Kirby Smart. You saw how much better Kirby Smart is compared to Steve Sarkisian. You saw it. Georgia was struggling ever since they went up 14-3. They were struggling offensively. They decided to go for it on 4th down. A beautiful play call by Bobo on the rollout, play action pass for a 1st down. And then you get to was it 4th and 5, 3rd and 5, and he forced Texas to jump off sides on the same possession, which then leads to a London Humphreys touchdown to go up 21-10. And then you follow it up by doing an surprise onside kick that literally went perfectly. I mean, Cash Jones caught it in motion. Like it was perfectly placed. And what makes it so funny is that Kirk Herbstreit said all night that, Sark, he's prepared for a Kirby to do some trickery on special teams because in the SEC championship last year, Kirby did a fake punt that helped Georgia win the game last year. And so Kirk Herbstreit kept mentioning, Sark, he's prepared for it, he's waiting for it. And you still get surprised and killed in a surprise special teams play by Kirby Smart. He gets you again. And from that point, it was game over. It was game over. Obviously, Georgia scores off of that. And from that point, Texas looked like they had no fight left. It looked like they just completely folded. Texas should not be a playoff team. They are not good enough. They're not good enough. They can't run the ball. Arch has good moments, and you can tell he's gotten better as the season has gone along, but I still watch him, and I'm like, there is still something just not right here. He just has bad misses. 3rd downs, he was terrible. I mean, there were just moments in that game where I was like, is he throwing to Casper the Friendly Ghost? Where is that going? The interception was bad. It was a complete overthrow. And look, he was under duress. The Texas offensive line, by the way, that's another thing. The Texas offensive line for the third game in a row against Georgia completely falls apart. And Georgia is seemingly peaking at the right time. This team looks like a well-oiled machine. Gunnar Stockton is doing exactly what Kirby and Georgia needs him to do. He's not trying to play hero ball. He's just understanding what he needs to do in every play in every moment. And he's making the play when it matters most. And this Georgia team is dangerous. The defense is getting better every single week. I loved what I saw out of this defense in this game against Texas. They came out and they actually looked like they were playing with fire, passion, and energy. I loved what I saw from DeMello Jones. I mean, he was annihilating Texas players all game. And I love that. CJ Allen, laid the wood on injuries, the Texas tight end. I mean, they were hitting, and I loved it. That's what I wanted to see all season. And it really looks like this young defense is coming along, getting better and better, and that's what I love to see. I think Georgia is a very dangerous team, and no one wants to play them right now. They basically locked up a playoff spot in that game with a win in that game. So for Georgia, it's just about beating Charlotte and then beating Georgia Tech and just seeing where you end up being placed seed-wise. There is actually a world, by the way, where Georgia doesn't play in the SEC championship and somehow manages to get a top 4 seed. There is actually a world where that happens because of Alabama losing. Few other things have to happen, but that is possible, which would be crazy because Georgia would get like 2 extra bye weeks. But hey, I'm here for it. So I actually want Alabama and Texas A&M to just win out. So I don't really want Georgia to play in the SEC championship. I'm good, man. We got ours last year. I'm good. Let's just get the extra bye week. That's what I'm focusing on. Oh, man. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next episode will be out tomorrow. Got a busy week ahead of me, so I got to get these episodes out early this week. I hope y'all have a great day. Do not forget to go out there and be great.